when you are like getting bothered by what other people are doing, you're trying to control their experience.
Have you ever wanted to know why it's important for yoga teachers to learn more about trauma? Or have you been too scared to try out a yoga class because you've found it intimidating, or you've had a bad experience and haven't gone to a yoga class again as a result of it? Or you're not sure how to go about starting? This is the episode for you.
Hi, I'm Liz Albanis, and welcome to Season 2 of Yoga for Trauma, the Inner Fire of Yoga, where we explore how yoga can help release trauma, calm the mind, and reconnect you with your body. Before you start listening, this episode includes a discussion on trauma and may touch on experiences that could be distressing for some listeners, including but not limited to survivors of sexual abuse, natural disasters, or other distressing events. If you find yourself feeling triggered during this episode, please treat yourself with care and compassion for where you are in this moment. If you're struggling, please see a licensed healthcare professional, or if in Australia, call Lifeline on 13114.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host Liz Albanis. The content shared in these conversations is intended for informational and educational purposes only, and it's not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Please use discretion and consult a qualified professional before making changes to your health or wellness routines.
Today's guest is Kristen KlipP. Kristen is a trauma-sensitive yoga facilitator, empowerment coach, and chakra energy healer. Kristen has been helping people for 9 years to discover their intuition, heal from trauma, and lead the life they were meant to live. Her company, Truth Lives Within, offers holistic healing sessions that allow clients to find their own inner wisdom and heal their wounds. Kristen has been dedicated to healing trauma after seeing how it affected her relationship with her family. Kristen has seen how trauma is often swept under the rug, and she is getting loud about trauma with her own podcast, Get Loud. You can find out more about Kristen by checking out the links in the show notes.
And we had such a long conversation that I've divided it up into 2 episodes. Here is a little snippet of the first part.
When you're already like cutting off certain people from coming to your class because you don't want to accommodate them, that's not practicing yoga to some extent. So generational trauma is trauma that has been occurring in multiple generations of a family. So my grandfather sexually abused my mother and my aunts as children. And then as a result, my mother was rather emotionally and with me mostly emotionally abusive. With my sisters, there was some physical abuse as a result of not healing some of that trauma. So when we don't heal that trauma, it can cause us to then cause trauma for later generations.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Kristen, and I can see your passion there with helping yourself and others heal their trauma. Let's get into the episode. What simple steps would you encourage any yoga teacher to take who's maybe feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to start to help yoga teachers cater to trauma better and mental health overall even?
Yeah, I mean, one, if you do regularly do hands-on assists, please, 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 please be asking permission to touch people.
I have also asked permission, gotten permission, and had someone jump when I touched them.
Oh,
so
wow.
you also,
pose?
it was in child shape. I
Right.
think that specific one. So be aware that like people have their personal space and they might, you know, even if there's someone who normally wants hands-on assists, one day they might decide they don't. So yeah, if you're doing hands-on assists, I would encourage and ask any yoga teacher to be asking consent before touching anyone.
Or using consent tokens.
Using consent tokens, you can ask people specifically as long as it's not like in a group setting, or some teachers will have everyone in like child shape and then people can raise their hands.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that can and can not, like, I like tokens better personally because I think people don't feel like they have to say yes or no. Sometimes when it's like, oh, I'm asking the whole class at once, people, even if people aren't looking, some people might be answering the way they think they have to answer versus what they actually feel in the moment. So consent cards are great because they really allow you to make that choice. You could change your mind throughout the class and have that accurate, you know, and also make that choice without the whole room maybe knowing what you're choosing. Another way is to be changing the way now, and this is a bit harder to do. Like this takes practice, but changing the way that you're cueing how people can move. So less of the commands, you know, do this, move your arm here, move your leg here, and more of an invite to move. So if you'd like, maybe you'd like to move your arm this way, or you might choose to move your arm this way. So in a way that's not so direct, I guess direct in the sense of like you're telling someone what to do. Instead, see it as a way that you're offering choices. One thing I like to say at the beginning of a class even is this practice is your practice and yours alone. So you can move your body in any way that you like. It might look like what I'm doing. It might look completely different, and all of that is okay.
I like so a preamble at the start of class, which I've encouraged.
Yeah, and that can be, you know, an easy thing to just include when usually I'll have them in some sort of meditation and I'll just sort of add it in as we're going. That can also be something you reiterate through class as well. Just a reminder to listen to your body first and foremost is often something I'll kind of add in as we go, because a lot of people want to do exactly what you're doing as the teacher.
Or
and
the person next door.
Right. Or the person next to them, or they're worrying about what everyone is doing. And it really isn't about anyone else. So I like to offer that so that they, again, it gives them a bit of agency and they're able to say like, oh, you know, I can do whatever I want. I also sometimes will offer if you want to take a nap for class, like that's your yoga practice today. You know, you don't have to move at all. You can do whatever you want. You can do your own practice while I'm talking. You know, it can look like me. It doesn't have to look like me. I'm here as a guide. I'm here to move us through some things that you're welcome to join or not. To add that invitation for them to participate or not. Even if they're there, that doesn't mean that they have to do all the things. I think some yoga teachers get in their heads a little bit about like, oh, that person's like not doing what I'm cueing. They hate it, or like, what are they doing? Like I used to do that, you know, get in my head about like, oh, why are they doing something else? They must hate what I'm doing. And part of it is like, is you can let go of that self-talk, because actually a coach once said this to me. When you are like getting bothered by what other people are doing, you're trying to control their experience. Yeah. And I had never thought of it that way. I was like, oh, wow. Like, but it's so true. It's like our brains are trying to get them, oh, hey, they went to the bathroom or they went and did this, like, and, you know, creating whatever story outside of it. But again, you're trying to without you meaning to, probably, right? I wasn't trying to control anyone, but in my head, I was getting upset when they weren't doing what I was doing. So I think part of it for yoga teachers can be just to have awareness of what that self-talk is doing in the background while you're teaching class, and start to notice when it is that controlling energy and where there might be space for you to like let go of being bothered by that. Like, saying, please move your body however you want, but then also embodying that by like your mind letting them do what they want, like not having an opinion about, oh, she did something else. Like, how dare that person,
Doesn't look aesthetically right. She's not listening to my universal alignment cues.
Right. Yeah. Like, if you are changing what you're saying because you're seeing people are not getting it, then fine, but not letting that inner dialogue sort of take over, which I finally got to a point. COVID actually kind of helped me get out of my head more, because then we were behind a screen and it was like, okay, some of you don't have cameras on, so you're doing whatever you're doing, right? So really just paying attention to that negative self-talk and seeing if it's trying to control what's happening. And if you can, like, letting go of the need to force your opinion or even what you're teaching on anyone who's in the class, like really letting them choose for themselves. And, it might be the same, it might be different, and really letting that be the case.
And even using your own practice, personal practice, to delve more into that self-inquiry of why. Yeah,
Right.
That's great advice. Is there any more little pointers you'd like to give?
One thing I don't do as a trauma sensitive yoga teacher that I was taught to do in my regular 200-hour was to walk around the room.
Yes.
And so that can be hard for some teachers not to do. I do understand that. But I had this kind of inner argument, right? Of like, I was trained to do it this way, and then trauma sensitive yoga is basically telling me that I can't do it that way anymore, that's not trauma sensitive. So I mostly just stay on my mat, I demo everything, and if they don't get it, they don't get it. Or I try to like say a different cue if like, if people aren't understanding what I'm doing, but I'm always demoing too. And that also can make it easier for people to get the gist of what you're saying. So that I know can be hard for teachers, but sometimes when a teacher is walking around the room, that can be triggering for your students.
Could you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can be triggering for different reasons for different people, but definitely one of the things that a person with trauma, if they don't know where you are in the room, that can be triggering. So say they're in child shape or a shape where they're not like looking at you, and you're walking around the room and they can hear you getting closer to them, that might cause some anxiety and it might cause them to get triggered, because that might have happened in their trauma where someone came up behind them and hurt them or did something to them, and they couldn't protect themselves. So that can be a real vulnerable piece for people, is not knowing where the teacher is and not knowing what the teacher's going to do at any point in time. Another thing
I just back to that though?
Yeah.
Would the teacher say, if they're getting off the mat, I'm just getting off my mat to change the lighting or put the lamp on and turn the main light off so we can, could they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you want to walk around or you need to walk around, absolutely communicate that to your students. That can prevent someone from getting triggered. Yeah.
And just be careful with the timing, like when they're in a pose where they can't see you, like child's pose. That would be a worse time to do it because they can't see, right?
Right.
Sorry, your next point of advice was?
Yeah. So for also people with trauma, sometimes if the door is behind them, that can be triggering. So it can be helpful for students to be able to see the exit where their mat is. So
Yes.
oftentimes, if it's possible, it's better for the teacher to be either like next to the door so that your students are facing you, but they can see where the door is,
Mhm.
versus the doors on the other side of the room and it's to their backs, whether it's behind
Yes.
them or like on a side behind them. So I often, when I'm especially in a room where like I teach in libraries and things like that. So sometimes like I'm coming into a room and it's not a yoga space, but I'll really try to make an effort where there's no point of entry behind where the students are, so that again, someone coming up behind them or opening a door behind them, that can be triggering for some people.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, totally. And it wouldn't be just with one sort of way of being, one sort of reason for being diagnosed with PTSD. And I know of someone, I had a student who would ask where all the emergency exits were because she'd survived an earthquake. And
Right.
she'd do that every time she'd go into a building, she'd want to know. And I think that's completely reasonable considering what she's
Yeah.
been through.
Right.
What about straps? I read in David Emerson's book, the first one, Healing Trauma Through Yoga, about they stopped using straps at the trauma center because they could be triggering. And I think there's multiple reasons why they could be.
Yeah, absolutely. Straps can be triggering if anyone was tied up in sexual abuse. People
Yes.
can be tied up, or even if it's physical abuse, maybe someone used like a belt on a victim of physical abuse. So straps can really take this almost like they look or feel like other things that may have been used to hurt someone. So yeah. Well, and oftentimes the way we're using straps, we're tying ourselves up, right? Like there's this
Especially
one.
in restorative yoga.
Yeah. So, yeah, when we're in like bound angle and you're kind of, the strap is around your like lower body and your legs, like, so that can definitely trigger someone if they had instances where they were tied up, or someone was using some sort of thing that might resemble a strap.
So you
Yeah.
avoid using them or you just have them as options?
So it's been a while since I've actually, I mean, if I'm at a yoga studio, sometimes I use them as a choice, but it's not one of my go-to props.
Yeah.
So if I'm at a yoga studio, my basic props are like 2 blocks and a bolster and maybe a blanket. But straps, I offer if people want to use them.
Yeah.
So some people like they love straps and they're using them every class, or they're just having it, next to their mat, even if I'm never offering that. I have noticed sometimes if I have offered that, it can be confusing for people too, even if it's not triggering. Like people don't always understand how to tie the strap. And so I personally don't often use straps. It's very rare that I do.
Yeah,
So
I haven't. Well, I haven't taught a group class since the fire, but my other thought was I was trained in restorative yoga with the beautiful Judith Hanson Lassiter, and that was a long time ago. And there was less knowledge of trauma then too. And for some
right.
people, this is wonderful. But Setu Bandha Savangasana, the bridge variation, and you actually have 2 straps, one around your thighs and the bolster and one around your calves. And the student literally cannot get out of the pose without someone getting them out. And that could be very terrifying, not just for someone with sexual trauma, but if you've been like me and you've been in a fire and you accidentally had the front door deadlocked and couldn't
Yeah.
find the keys and you were panicked to get out of the house within 2 minutes like we did, it could remind them of that. Or they could be freaking out going, what if there's another fire? I can't get out by myself. So
Right.
I would, add it as an option. And I note that a lot of trauma or trauma, even just trauma-informed class, don't use Sanskrit, but also trauma-sensitive don't use the word pose. They use shape.
Correct.
Can you just
Yeah.
explain why as we finish up? Yeah.
Yeah. So pose again has been used maybe with sexual assault victims
Oh, really?
or like body image, if you're being told to strike a pose or
Oh,
like
yeah.
or if someone was like had pictures taken of them that
Mm.
felt uncomfortable and someone's telling them to pose. So
Oh,
um it's more just like that word can be triggering for people.
mhm.
So one word that David Emerson often used was form instead of pose. I personally, form never felt, I don't know, it didn't feel like me. So I say shape instead.
Yeah. I know of
Um,
another teacher who says shape. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, certain words we don't use because they may have been used with someone who has some sort of trauma, where that specific word might be triggering for them.
Yeah. It'd be a hard thing to do out of a mainstream studio, but I can
Right.
see why they do it in those classes. It'd be a really hard habit to get out of saying for most yoga
Right.
teachers, even more so than using invitational language. But I
Right.
can totally get why they do that, and I respect that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Kristen, thanks so much for coming on the show. And can you just let people know what you're doing at the moment? And I will definitely add your YouTube as well as your other links anyway, but if you can just let people know.
Yeah. Yeah. So my business name is Truth Lives Within, and I work with women who have everything they ever wanted and they're still unhappy, or not necessarily just women, but anyone who identifies with women. If you don't know why you're unhappy, oftentimes there's a piece of our truth that we're not connecting to. And
Mhm.
so a lot of it is helping people reconnect with their intuition, with their bodies. A lot of people with trauma, it's very scary to go inward and to actually listen to our bodies. So I work with people, I use the chakras as a guide of what is really unbalanced. So for many of us, it's our root chakra where we feel safety, where we feel security. That is lacking a lot of the times. So I use a holistic approach in order to work with trauma. So it starts with the chakras as a guide, and I also tie in some coaching as well as trauma sensitive yoga as well. And the chakra energy work, it might be in the form of a meditation or more of a actual clearing.
Could
So
you quickly,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah,
just for the audience, could you quickly describe the chakras?
yeah. So the chakra system is this system of energy centers that start at the base of the spine and work their way all the way up the body to the crown of the head. And the idea behind them is that each chakra is associated with a certain part of our being.
Mm.
So, as I mentioned, the root chakra is associated with safety and security. There's a chakra associated with creativity, with how you show up, with how you're speaking in the world, with how you love yourself and others, and how you're connected to your soul, as well as a greater being, God, the universe. And so, those chakras over time, when we're going through life, they get clogged. It's almost like they get, when we're holding emotions into our body, they kind of get dirty and they're not running to the extent that they should. So
Mm.
a lot of the work that I do and some of the yoga that I teach as well, like yoga is also based in the chakras of hey, if you do certain grounding yoga shapes, you might be starting to open up that root chakra a little bit more. So whether it's energy work or movement, you can start to release some of that gunk and dirt that you might have collected as you just go through your life. And the chakras are actually, I do have a book about them that I hadn't realized so many. It's not just Indian culture that has this system, but like the Mayans and so many other cultures have their own versions of the
I didn't know that.
chakras.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when I started learning about them, I kind of realized like, oh, like this ties into, you know, the yoga piece, but also as a kid, I used to dance and like we would do yoga stretches to like warm up for ballet class, which it was never called yoga. But then like later on, I'm like, oh yeah, it's all really connected. So yeah, those chakras, they're those energy centers that the idea is that when we do get rid of all that gunk and the emotions we might be holding in our bodies, when we start to let that energy move, we are then going through life with our fullest potential. So we're able to show up in the way that we really are meant to show up when we are able to clean those energy centers. So as we move through life, they just pick up stuff. They get a little dirty, they get clogged, and it can be helpful to clear them every now and then to
Yeah,
make
I
sure
agree
that
with
your
that.
body's working to the extent that it needs to.
So that's part of what you do because you've done extra training on chakra clearing.
Yeah, yeah. So I really try to work with people in a holistic way. You know, the chakra is the energy work, it's the soul work. We got the yoga, which is the body, and the coaching, which is working with the mind. So my one-on-one program with people, it's all customizable, and we work with all of those things in order to help heal, in order to start to find where that joy and that ease can come from. So I also do group classes as well. And I teach locally where I live in Massachusetts, and sometimes offer virtual classes. Right now, I don't have anything that I'm offering specifically, but mostly just that one-on-one work and group classes locally at the moment.
Oh, that's great that you offer it online and face to face and do group and one on one. And you, like me, you believe in a holistic approach to health and life,
Yeah.
just a reductionist approach.
Absolutely.
Any final words of wisdom to share?
I guess just the reason why I started to create this business that's holistic healing is because my own healing journey, I've noticed it wasn't one thing that helped me. It really has been this combination of multiple things, and tuning into myself from all those aspects, right? Yoga has allowed me to tune into the mind, body, and soul. And then noticing that those things also need a little bit more attention. Like yoga can't change my mindset all the time. Sometimes I actually have to get in there and do some affirmations or thought work or something like that. Or sometimes that energy work can really be helpful where maybe things aren't moving through with just yoga or just the coaching piece. So I've really come to put it all together based on my own journey and know that not one thing is going to help you necessarily. One thing might help more than others, but always want to offer that like there are so many different healing modalities out there that it's worth it to try them to see if they work, take what works, leave what doesn't, and know that that can be a practice that can be part of your healing journey is just kind of finding new things, trying them out and seeing what works and what is meant to stay.
Yeah, I agree with that, because what works for one person may not work for the other person. Thanks again for coming on the show, Kristen.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
If you enjoyed that episode with Kristen, check out episode 19, Trauma Experiences and Trauma Healing Modalities, an episode I shared onto my feed when I was a guest on Kristen's podcast in early 2025.
Here's a little snippet.
Multiple people can be exposed to the same thing, and one person maybe has trauma from it and another person might not, or it can be interesting how we're not all affected in the same way.
I came home and my parents could see that I was a completely different kid. It's one of the few therapies recommended by the World Health Organization for treating PTSD in both adults and children that doesn't require you to go into great detail about the trauma. So it can make it less emotionally taxing, and it's had a profound impact on me. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, never forget the power of yoga.